I'm standing in the back patio of the house. There's an additional slab of concrete that needs to get poured here. Basically, in taking you over to the edge of the house, there's a couple of things to point out here. Here's your bottom plate, right? Underneath your bottom plate is your subfloor. It's the piece, the 3/4 inch layer of plywood that you see here. Your bottom plate, then you have your subfloor. Your subfloor is resting on top of your joists, right? In the last video, we went into the basement and you got to see what the joists look like running in the floor. On the end of the joists, the way we finish off the edge of the house, because obviously there's openings in between each joist, so we put a rim plate or a rim board all the way around the outside of the house. Sometimes you would use like a 2x dimensional lumber. In some applications you use OSB. Underneath the joists, so you have your bottom plate, your subfloor, your joists are underneath here, and then ultimately your joists are sitting on what is pretty much the most important piece of wood on your house in a lot of ways. It's the sill. I think we talked about it a little bit in the last video. We'll take you over to the side and we'll show you the inside of what the sill looks like. But basically this 2x dimensional lumber, 2x8, 2x10, maybe in a really big house you would have a 2x12. I don't think I've ever seen that. But this piece of wood is the most important piece of wood because your whole house is connected to your foundation to this piece of wood, which is your sill. Ultimately, your sill runs the entire length of your foundation wall, and it's affixed to the foundation wall using bolts, which are placed there by the concrete contractor. When you start framing the house out, once you snap your chalk lines on the foundation, squaring up the start of your framing process, the first thing you're going to do is lay the sill down and bolt it, affixing it to the foundation. Then your floor is put down on top of that. So if, God forbid, there's, you mess up this part and a tornado comes through, or I don't know, a giant leans on your house, this whole piece right here will just slide right off the concrete wall. So getting the bolts right, bolting it down, making sure everything's good to go before you get started, it seems like a foolproof process, but I'm sure there are people out there that are rushing along and not taking their time with making sure that this goes smoothly. Before you start laying this sill out on the foundation wall, you're going to want to snap the chalk lines all the way around the edge of the house, squaring the lines up before you put this down. Installing the sill as square as possible at 90-degree corners or outside corners will make the entire framing process after that go way smoother. If you rush this, you're going to have to do a whole bunch of work on the outside of the house and things like that to correct it. So everything starts with this little piece of wood right here, getting squared up and running nice clean lines down your foundation. You can probably get a good shot. If you go down the wall here, you can get a nice clean shot of how straight this runs all the way down the house. Don't die. As you can see, like the concrete wall, there's a little bit of a lip here for a drip edge. Shooting down this line right here, you can see how straight the sill is, and then the bottom plate, how it just, it matches up perfectly to it. And then everything else just kind of balloons off of that.